Hey guys and gals, it's Mike with Crystal DTF, and I'm just going to do another tutorial and show off how to fix up an image like this. This one's got a little bit of a special challenge, and it's really only a challenge because I'm not sure what color background it's going on. So what color shirt, I always assume a shirt, is going to make a big difference with this image because, you know, we've got this this white that's kind of going in to the white out here, so makes it a little bit hard to select when it's got a white background like this, and then you've got white elements in the side the design. But of course, if it was going on white, then we actually would be in really good shape, and we would actually want to knock that white out. And I do think it probably is going on a white shirt because look, you know, we got this black text. It's got to be going on something light. And that's one of the key things, the reason to, always say what size you're trying to make it. And then also, what color shirt it's going on. That's the thing that I need to know more than anything. If it's going on black and you're going to knock it out, and you're going to use a halftone technique, then you absolutely have to know the exact size you're going to make it. All right, so we're just going to start off by upscaling. We're going to go 5x. We're going to take this out to 6200 by 6200 pixels. This is upscale.org. You can download it for free. Go to upscale.org and then click on desktop and then click on Windows to download your free copy of this software. All right, and then we're going to go here to downloads, and we're just going to open this up with Photoshop. So there's a lot of texture here, and I really want to try to preserve some of that texture, and also let it show through the shirt. So I'm going to take my magic wand. I'm going to set this at 60, and I'm just going to select, and you can see I've got contiguous checked, sample all layers, and anti-alias. And I'm just going to shift select this part. You see what's happening. It's not actually selecting those little spots, which is great. So it's going to give us some broken up areas, which is good for ink. It's going to actually make it feel softer. I'm going to Control C, Control Shift V. So now we've got just this isolated, and it's really important that we put a color overlay on this. So I'm going to choose, pure black. I'm going to just right click, blending options, color overlay, pick pure black, and hit OK. Now this next part, we're just going to sample this color of this green. You can do this at any point of the process. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So I've got my magic wand. And the reason I'm going with that 60 tolerance is it's a nice blend of being able to get into the cracks and crevices, but also not pick up too much of this stuff in the center. We're still trying to preserve some of that texture. And when you do this, you kind of really want to look to make sure that nothing gets cut off. So there's a chance when you got a really textured thing like this that it might, not select past some of the texture. But it looks like everything is selected, as well as it could be. I'm going to hit Control C, Control Shift V. Now we've got these two elements isolated. And then we're going to do that same color overlay. So I'm just going to right click on here, copy that layer style, and paste that color overlay style. And then double click on the color overlay to open it. And then I'm just going to sample that green that we selected earlier. And so now there's a solid color over that whole area. And what that's doing is that's helping us take care of any edginess in the file. All right, so now this next part, this is our challenging part. And the problem we're going to run into is we do want to pick that white up. Since we don't know what's going on with the background, we can't just assume that they don't want that white in the center. That would be the ideal thing actually, is to know that it's going on white or it's going on a light color, and we would just knock that out, and that would just make the shirt softer. So we would literally just select all these areas and make sure we pick up all the red. And I'm just holding Shift to collect all those different areas. We have to get inside these little windows. And this is what I would do. It would make the shirt a lot softer to knock it out. In fact, we might just do two variants. We'll do two variants because I am so concerned about trying to make this soft. this selection process is going well because we're at a huge size. So I'm just using Control plus to zoom in and Control minus to zoom out, holding the Control key and hitting the plus and minus over on my numpad. And then to move around when I'm zoomed in, I hit the space bar, which switches us to the hand tool. And that's how we just like kind of slide it around. You just click and drag. We're not moving anything. We're just moving our orientation of the viewport, okay? And now we can I think we've got all the red selected. In fact, I'm just going to hit Control X, and that really shows you what I selected because I cut it that time, But I'm going to Control Z that. I'm going to hit Control C, copy it. I'll turn this layer off, and then I'm going to do Control Shift V. Control Shift V is paste in place, and so it pastes it right back where it goes, okay? And then I'm going to do that color overlay. I'm going to do blending options. And I'm going to do color overlay. Before we do that, let's cancel out of that. Let's just select a pretty part of this red, and we'll do that same color overlay. I'm not going to dive into like looking at the edges, but yes, why not? I'm not going to mention it and then not show you. Look, let's put a solid color of black. So when you have a graphic like this, and you put it up against black, and you zoom in, right now we're at 50%. If we zoom into 100%, now we're looking at it at the scale and the level that the printer sees it at. So when the printer's actually trying to lay this graphic down, this is how it's going to see the pixels. It's going to view it at 100%. Now, we're also 6,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels. We're huge. That's about 20 inches by 20 inches. You're probably not going to print it that big, but that's the size we want to work. But so as we get the graphic ready, right? So now if I turn this color overlay off, you're going to see why it's on. So especially there's these edges, and all these edges kind of lit up. So it's probably harder to see. I'm going to zoom in a little more than we should. So now we're at 200%. Just so you can see it on your screen. See what happens when I turn that off. And you don't want that edginess around the outside. The texture is not that bad, and you could put the texture back, but I'm doing this to just fix all the color so that we don't have that edge around the outside and actually make it look like the printer's messing up and it's printing white. So that's why we worry about that. And then now, what if I did want white? So what if I did want to preserve the white? And let's talk about the challenge of that. So I'm going to take all of these layers that we prepared, because this artwork is sort of finished. It's not ready for print yet because we haven't thresholded it, and we also haven't sized it to the right size. But I'm just going to group these 3 layers, and I hit Control G, and then I double clicked on the layer name, and I'm just going to call it artwork. So that's our artwork. And I'm just going to turn that off, and I'm also turn off this black, and I'll turn that original layer back. I haven't touched anything on this layer. What I want to show you is that if I wanted to preserve this white, there's a couple of different ways I could try to do it. So the first way, I'm going to Control click. I just turned my artwork back on. I'm going to Control click this layer. So that's selecting everything on that layer. I'm going to Control click this layer. All right, Shift Control click. I just screwed up. So, all right, I've got that selected, and I've got this selected, okay? And I'm just going to show you a quick way to mask this part off so that I actually get a white background, okay? So I just want to isolate the heart. So I'm going to select, modify, expand. And this is not like the be-all way that you do everything. It's just a technique. So I'm going to expand it by 20 pixels. Okay, so that's expanded that selection. It smoothed everything out. All those little spots and speckles are all now selected. Everything's selected. I'm going to turn my artwork layer back off. So now we're just looking at the original. We're right here. That's all that's showing is this original layer right here. And I'm going to hit Control Shift N, and I'm going to call this mask. And now I'm going to switch to white. So I'm going to switch to my black and white. And then I'm going to flip white to the foreground. That's what I'm doing with these little arrows over here. And I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool, and I'm just going to dump paints all over that selected area. And so now I can hit Control D, and I've got this handy dandy little mask, and everything's isolated. So one way to preserve the white or to like try to select this, you saw me like select inside. The other thing you can do is select the outside. So I'm just, now that everything's white, I can up my tolerance a little bit. I'd probably put it at 80 for this operation. And then I can like hit select out here. But the problem, you can immediately see, it's ran through and gotten all these different pieces on the inside of this. So see how it's actually, it just ran right past that border. And if, I don't know, if the customer wants to preserve this white, then I need to deselect this stuff. And so that one way we could do that is we could just use our lasso tool and hold Alt and just draw this little line right here. And then we would see I'm messing up inside the edges. I can do that. I'm using the edge. Draw that part. Okay, and I'm just going to circle around all the parts I want to deselect and then come right up here and just drop it. And so now that's deselected all that. That's still selected, but I'm focusing on the hard parts first. So I'm just going to come over here and do the same thing. So I'm just using those edges. I'm trying to use like the automatic selection to make my part that's tricky easier for me, you know. So now I'm just going to zoom out, and you can see I've still got a lot of stuff selected that I don't want. So I'm just going to get rid of all of that. Okay, and then what you could do now is you could kind of scoot it in to kind of fix those edges that we have a problem with. We could do select, modify, expand, and I'll just go 1 pixel. And so that actually, because we were selected outside here, that pushed that selection in. So if we zoom in enough, we'll be able to see what's going on. And we can see we got that little outline right there. It's just a little bit inside the edge, so you're not going to get that white fuzziness around the outside. Okay, so now let's just delete. I'm now going to actually, for the first time, alter the original layer. I haven't touched it so far. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm just going to hit delete. And now, if I turn that mask off, I've got this isolated black. Now, the drawback of what I've done, and I'm just going to pull this this layer up. We're probably not going to use this layer. The drawback of what I've done here is now I don't have all that white selected. So that's why I went through the process of selecting that up here. So see, like this version, it's got all that stuff knocked out. So the t-shirt color will come back through. So how can we do both? How can we actually preserve, you know, this outer part that's out around here that's actually just, let's cut out, which makes it softer. So we want that. And what we can do is we could draw the white behind. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our pen tool. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, and I'm going to come in here. I'm using spacebar to zoom around, and I'm just going to draw. I'm going to, you know, click here. I don't even need to go that far back. I'm going to go right here. Boom. And then, you know, we're zoomed in close, so like we're going to see the flaws, but the customer is not going to see the flaws when they get the shirt. And we're just going to select there. So that's just drawing along that little area. And then I'm going to click right here. So see, I'm being careful to like kind of stay on the inside. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. And I'm just like kind of warping it a little bit. I mean, gosh, you could really try to make that rounded part there if you wanted to. And I'm just going to now draw. I'm just clicking kind of indiscriminately. I'm not going to obsess about the fact that I want to preserve some of that little edginess inside there. We're not going to obsess about that. And then I'm talking to myself, right? Because I will obsess about stuff like that. And then I'm just going to click right here. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So we're just going to draw that part. And see, as soon as I like get past, you know, where I've got an edge, then I'm just, I'm not worrying about it, right? So I'm just going to boop right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to stay inside here. And see, there's little dots in there that I could freak out about if I was being my typical perfectionist self. And I'm just going to go around the outside here. I'm going to try to avoid some of these dots. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, yeah, got a little close there. I scared myself, so I'll just hit Control Z. Got a little close again, Control Z. I'm always working with my left hand on the keyboard, hovered over that Control Z. And literally just going to keep going around this thing with this shape. That's what it is. I'm in shape mode. My fill's set to whites. My stroke is set to none. And I'm just going to come down here and complete it. And so now I've got this shape layer. I'm going to call this white fill. Okay? And I'm going to throw that in my artwork. And I'm just going to scoot it down. These other layers, the order doesn't matter. It's just all of it needs to be above that white fill. And this is the white fill of the heart. So you can name this. You can be like hearts. You can call this NW. I don't know what that means. I hope this is not something dirty. This is the black. This is the I heart. Yeah, I hearts. So it's I and the on that layer. And we can't even see the I and the because we still have our black on. So let's just turn that off. And now we'll prepare this for print. So we're just going to do image, trim, transparent pixels. It's a great time to save. Actually, I probably would save the PSD not trimmed. It's just nice to have that extra room to work in. So I'm just going to call this, let's name it. Okay, we're calling it I Heart the NW. I'm just going to save that. That's my Photoshop file. And you can also use this, everything I just showed you, you can do in photop.com for free. You don't have to have Photoshop. Ultimately, you should probably have a goal to get Photoshop. All right, so now we're going to just trim it. Image trim, based on transparent pixels. Okay. And then we're going to size it. So I don't know the destination size. So I'm going to go as big as I can possibly imagine. So we use 15 by 19. So I'm going to turn resample. I'll leave that off at first. I'm going to set my resolution to 300. And I see that I'm 17 by 18. So I use 15 by 19. If it's 15 inches wide and it's not yet 19 inches tall, then I'll go max 15 inches wide. If it is 19 inches tall at like say 13 inches wide, I'll go max 19 inches tall. So I'm going to set this to 300. Now I'm going to turn resample on. And then I'm going to set this to 15. And you can see I'm at 4,500 pics by 4,795. I'm just going to hit OK. Now remember, we already saved our Photoshop document. Now we're exporting the PNG that we want to print. So I'm just going to take this whole artwork folder. I don't care about any of this other stuff. It's done. I've got it saved in the PSD if I wanted to preserve it. I'm just going to merge this group so that it's flattened. It's flattened down to one layer. And then I'm going to do layer mask from transparency. And then I'm going to alt-click the mask. So I'm holding Alt on my keyboard and clicking on the mask so that I can see it. And I'm going to show you what we're about to accomplish. We're actually going to threshold this image. If you get down at the pixel level, you're going to see that there are semi-transparent pixels right there. That's what these are. It either needs to be solid white, meaning that it's fully opaque, or solid black, meaning that it's fully transparent. And so we don't want those little guys, and they're all over on all the edges, okay? And now we're going to fix that by doing image, and with the mask selected, image adjustments threshold. And now we're just going to leave that right in the middle and hit OK. If you drag this to the left, you get bigger edges. If you drag it to the right, it comes in, or maybe vice versa. I always get that confused. So this one cuts in, and this one kind of pushes out. But like right at 128 is the dead center, and that's the defaults. Just hit OK. All right. So now let's look at it. It's a perfect stair step. And because we did those color overlays, we've got solid green pixels on this part all the way to the edge. And now all those little spots, they look jaggedy, but they're not going to look jaggedy when you look at it at regular size. We're zoomed way in. We're at 400%. I'm going to hit Control 1, and that's going to be normal zoom. And then Control 0 lets you see the entire document. Okay, we're ready to save. We're going to do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. It's going to be I Heart the NW. And then I'm going to put the size. It's 4500 px. We always list the width. Width is really the way we discuss images because the height just kind of works itself out based on the aspect ratio. So it's 4500 px. I'm going to put my name. It's me. and then RTP for ready to print so that you know that's a ready to print file. Okay, last part of this, how to share the image back. Okay, so I hope this is the right person. I found another Jillian Harris. I don't know for certain. It could be somebody with the same name, but we've done this work for everybody, and we just kind of base it off names because we don't know any better. And so I'm just going to put this file in here. And so now that file's in that folder, so it's uploaded, and now I can share it. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that the folder can be viewed by the world, and it can. Anyone with the link is a viewer. I'm going to hit done on that. This image now, I can hit share and copy that link. And then when I paste that back, I can actually say, here is your cleaned up artwork. And I'm going to put the link. And then here is a preview. So you don't want to actually use the image in the preview. You want to use the one in the link. Okay, I'm having trouble typing. All right, so I usually will also upload the image there just so they can see what's going on. And I think in this case, I'm also going to put that PSD up, because then if they see this, if they watch this video, if Jillian sees this video, she can be like, okay, actually, I do want that knocked out. I do want that white part knocked out. So how can she fix that? Well, she can come up here to this folder, and she can download this file right here. And it's assuming, like, say that she doesn't have Photoshop, photop.com. All right, that file's been downloaded. I'm going to open from my computer. Okay, there it is. It's trying to download it still. It's a big file, and I'm also, recording, and the internet's being slow. So I'm just going to use this one that I already had downloaded because I'm the one that uploaded it. So let's open that up. So it's loading up here. And what I can do is I can literally just come turn that white fill off. I just have to click the eyeball next to it. And then I would just do those same steps. Image trim, transparent, okay. Image size, set it to 300. I'm going to turn off resample. And then I'm going to turn resample back on. Set it to 15 or whatever size you actually need it. Hit okay. So it takes a second with Photop. It doesn't do it as fast as Photoshop because you're working through the web. All right. Now that's all done. Same thing before as before. I'm going to delete these layers. I just selected them. I selected the top one. Shift selected the bottom one. I'm going to merge the group. Merge layers. I'm going to do layer, raster mask from transparency. Hold Alt. Select the mask. Image adjustments threshold. Hit OK, and then I'm ready to export. File, export as PNG. I'm just going to save that. It's going to download it to my computer. And we've got the exact same results, except this one doesn't have that stuff inside. So here's the one that we did before in Photoshop, and here's the one we just did in Photop. Okay, a little bit longer tutorial than probably anybody wanted to watch. But I hope somebody needed it, and I hope this helps you in your graphic design projects. And remember, crystaldtf.com is the best place to buy DTF transfers on the planet. Take care.